Yo, what's good? Your boy Opry 706. This is KTSE Ave, episode 213. Damn, sound effects are fucking tripping tonight. It's myself, Marcus, the usual suspects. Greek. It was looking shaky, but we made it. Getting our consistency up. Kind of like it's almost as like, when the Falcons are consistent, that the podcast is consistent. The Falcons are on a 2-game win streak, and we're on a 2-game pod streak. But we'll get to that later. Before we actually get into it, I want to shout out to the winners out there in fantasy football. Right now, I'm cruising to the second round of my playoffs. Another, record-setting game for my clap up for my team, the Flicker Goon Aura Rizzlers.
Jesus Christ!
Shout out to all the Flicker Gooners out there. Just want to give y'all a rundown. And I said this last week with fantasy football. It's just like life. It's all about making choices. And, full transparency, this is probably the littlest, the least amount of research I've done for fantasy football. But I did the day before the draft. I just Googled like some fantasy football tips. So I was like, they're like, hey, here's some rookies to look after. You might want to pick up. And 3 of those rookies have been carrying my team. One, Jaden Daniels, who got me 52 points today with his 5 touchdown passes.
Jesus Christ! Even with the 5 turnovers.
Yeah, I mean there was 2 interceptions, but I think he had 2 rushing touchdowns too. I don't know. He had a lot of touchdowns. He went crazy.
Damn.
Rookie of the year is pretty much quarterback wins the tie. So sorry, Brock Bowers, the first tight end to have 1,000 yards receiving and the first rookie tight end to have 100 receptions. It's almost as if he's a generational unicorn-like player. We'll get to that a little bit later too. Imagine. But yeah, back to my fantasy football team. Jaden Daniels got me 52 points. My first overall pick, Bijan Robinson, his third 2-touchdown game got me 23 points. And one player that I do not watch ever, and this just might be some like pure luck, but James Conner for the Cardinals, 31 points. He consistently gets me 100 yards like a touchdown every week. I'd never watched this guy play. And low key, if I would make parlays off my fantasy team, I'd probably be in good shape because my team be cooking. Nico Collins, 7 catches, 60 yards. Another person that would be, he's not going to win Rookie of the Year, but he should get a lot of consideration. Which this ESPN or whatever article I read told me to draft this dude, Brian Thomas Jr. from the Jacksonville Jaguars. 9 catches, 132 yards and a touchdown. Brock Bowers, 11 catches, 99 yards, 20 points. Right now, my worst player is Mike Evans with 5 catches, 69 yards, but he'll probably get benched next week for Zay Flowers or something like that. But yeah, I'm up, projected to score 200 points. So it's another big day, Gotta make this final push so we can maybe hoist my first fantasy football championship ever. So shout out to y'all playing fantasy football out there. And I would like to say, just closing out fantasy football, you did get caught in 4K dropping one Kirk Cousins from your roster. Why does it matter? Like, what is wrong with you? That's sick.
I'm supposed to keep him on my team.
I mean, but that's nasty. Like, we could see that. Like, we saw that in 4K. I'm like, wow. Like, he's got a family to feed. He still needs health insurance. You just go drop him with the roster like that. He's got like 5 kids.
Oh man, hey, you got to perform.
Shout out to y'all shout out to y'all tapping in live. Appreciate y'all watching.
Jesus,
sub all that goofy shit. But yeah. So we gonna start out with myself with football, keeping it football. Where's the drop? Blah blah blah. All right, so last week, me and the homie shot to EC, shot to Gary, Indiana, shot to Freddie Gibbs.
No,
we went to the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Atlanta Falcons. And shout out to the Falcons fans. There was a lot more Falcons fans at this game than I thought there would be. Like, it was pretty deep. I'm not gonna lie. They low key kind of took over, and it's one of those things where like you figure Cowboys fans are everywhere, like Steelers fans, but there was hella Falcons fans, like hella red. Like when they do the whole Jumbotron shit where they show other like Raiders fans celebrating, almost every shot they had, there was a Falcons fan in the background or in the shot. So it was making it tough for them to get like the Raiders fans. So applause to the Falcons. What we're not going to applaud is a fucking slop fest of a Monday night football game where the Falcons were in a dogfight with a team that had lost 9 straight games, the hometown Las Vegas Raiders, starting their former bum-ass quarterback, Desmond Ridder. And this game should not have been close as it was. It was 15-9. It was disgusting. It was not a good game. The offense only scored 1 touchdown in the first quarter. The defense went crazy. I think they blocked 2 punts.
Yeah, blocked 2 of them.
Blocked a field goal, got a safety, and we were only able to muster up 15 measly points. And it even came down to the last play of the game. Like Desmond Ridder was able to throw like 2 Hail Marys to potentially win the game, which at that point I might have like ran onto the field and tried to get assaulted by a cop, because that's how bad that would have been to lose the game to Desmond Ridder.
That would have been the funniest thing ever. Like I went back on Twitter just to see that, just to read the comments of Falcons fans crashing out over Desmond Ridder getting a revenge game and winning against y'all and essentially knocking you guys out of the playoffs. That would have been hilarious.
Well, what was hilarious is Kirk Cousins' stat line. 11 for 17, 112 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. He had a QBR of, for y'all to like those type of things, his QBR was 9.2. Right. I don't know what a good QBR is, but I'm pretty sure a 9.2 is
it ain't that.
It ain't. Yeah, that's bad news bears. But
if it's in the single digits, it can't be good.
What's up, Shogun? We doing good, chilling. But it was bad. It was to the point where I was arguing with the homie about like Bijan Robinson, who had a great game, 22 carries for 125 yards. I was like, the game plan, as good as Bijan is, the game plan can't be spam Bijan, spam Bijan, spam Bijan, spam Bijan. Like that can't work. And he was like, oh yeah, they're just taking what the defense is giving you. But I'm like, bro, there's got to be variety. You got to be able to have some tendency breakers. You got to be able to, catch them off guard. But it's literally 3 plays out of 4, we're going to run the ball, right? To the point where I think on 3rd down, they ran the ball, which was already very telling. And kind of in comparison, there was a 2nd and 26 for the Raiders where they ran the ball because the quarterback is Desmond Ridder. The next play, 3rd 26. They're going to throw the ball, right? Wrong. They ran the ball on 3rd and 26.
That's nasty.
So if you're telling me that you're not going to allow your quarterback to throw the ball in obvious throwing situations, that's a problem. And that's what the Falcons are doing with Kirk Cousins. I think they said in the entire game he threw like 3 passes on 1st down, which is nasty work. And then when they let him throw a pass, the first pass out of the halftime, he throws an interception. And after that, I don't think he threw like maybe 2 more passes the rest of the game. It was bad. Like I've been to quite a few Falcons game, and this was outside of the fans. This was by far the worst Falcons game I've ever seen. It was terrible. It was awful. It was unwatchable football. So fast forward to the next day. Well, let's go to the press conference where Raheem Morris he's a little shaky on his his vote of confidence for Kirk Cousins. And there was a lot of reports and people were trying to get ahead of it, saying like, yo, like he can't play no more. Like he's got to go. Like he cannot start. He can't start for this team no more. And what do you have it? Michael Penix was announced as starting quarterback. And we fast forward to today where we go from one of the worst Falcons games I've ever seen to one of the best Falcons games I've ever seen. Michael Penix Jr. Hashtag Big Penix Energy. The first round draft out of the Penix Pumpers have arrived. We have risen up. The blood is now flowing.
Oh no,
flowing vigorously. for the pumping of the appendix.
The veins are full.
Yes,
That's disgusting.
yes. Leading his Falcons
now
to a decisive, resounding, belt to ass W against the bum ass lowly New York Giants to the tune of 34-7. So the haters, shout out to Josh. Josh has been silent.
Oh wow.
He's been silent. I ain't seen a tweet from him all day. And I'm just messing with him. But Josh is a funny guy because he was vigorously defending Kirk Cousins for reasons that I do not know last week. Retweeting things about like, swapping the quarterback doesn't help teams, and I'm like, oh, it could get worse. I'm like, bro, it can't get worse.
It really can't.
He's like, oh, it could.
What Kirk Cousins has been doing the last like 3 to 4 weeks have been horrendous. Like some of the worst quarterback playing. Like he had like 6 interceptions in 2 games or something crazy like that. He's immobile. He cannot push the ball down the field. You can't run play action with him, which is like his strong suit. And what was it? I didn't watch the entire Falcons game, but I found a YouTube video of all of Penix's throws, all the passes that he made, incomplete or complete. The very first pass that he threw, even though it was incomplete, the fact that he was able to step into it while getting hit and get the pass, like it was a drop. Like Drake London should have caught that, but the fact that he was able to get
it was Ray McCloud.
Okay, yeah. The fact that he was able to get the ball to him while getting pressured and getting hit at the same time, that Kirk Cousins gets sacked there. Like that's just a dead play.
Let's not get ahead of the lead. So the haters look at Michael Penix's stats and say, oh, he sucks. He had a pedestrian day. He only went 18 for 27.
Honestly,
18 for 27, 202 yards, 1 interception, and 0 sacks. And
okay, yeah, you gotta watch it. Yeah, that interception was disgusting.
This is one of these stats where, hey man,
that was disgusting.
I need to add a new drop. I need to find a drop for fucking. What do we got? Let's see. This will work. We'll take a quick pause. But when you're a Kansas City Chief or, I don't know, a Dallas Cowboy, we'll think about the good times when you were labeled as a unicorn and your 1,000-yard season. We'll send you a card, every once in a while, but you gotta go. You're fucking terrible. Bro had 1 catch, 1 reception. He's always been trash. 1 reception for 7 yards. Meanwhile, when Drake London got off he had to go. He got hurt or something like that. Somebody that was on the practice squad comes in the game and catches a pass for like 70 yards, but Pitts is just like a non-factor out here. I can't do it, man. He's got to go. And that was one of the things I wanted to see was if there was some sort of connection with Pitts, but it ain't there. It ain't there.
I used to think it was Arthur Smith, but it just might be Pitts. And like I jokingly last year, said that maybe the Falcons should have kept Jonnu Smith.
They should have.
But looking at how Jonnu Smith is like, I mean, he's not balling. He's being productive in Miami on a team with 2 legit like number 1 wide receivers, and Jonnu Smith is still out there being productive. And Kyle Pitts, I don't know what it is. It doesn't make any sense. For someone to be drafted that high with that kind of talent, it seems like everybody missed on this, or because he's on his 2nd offensive coordinator and it's still not working. It's on his 4th or 5th quarterback and it's still not working. I just don't get it. I don't know what's going on there.
Well, off the losers and back to winners like Michael Penix. Yeah, it was so refreshing to see passes with zip on them.
Mm-hmm.
It was refreshing to see him get pressured and not panic or like get the fuck out the way or check the ball down, like literally do the basic things that a quarterback can do.
The bare
But
minimum.
he did it with the poise. And again, people hate on him for his age and whatnot, but he played like a veteran. Like he was out there poised. Like nothing rattled him. Like he did do a couple of things he could have done better, but it's his first game. But the things that he could have done better was being a little bit more decisive. Like I know he checked the ball down to Bijan very late, which either should have ate that or just thrown it away. And then he took a tick long to decide to run and took a sack. Or yeah, they didn't credit him with a sack, but I guess maybe because he ran. But yeah, he could have maybe made like two better decisions. But I mean, yeah, honestly, he should have started out like 6 for 6, but his receivers were just dropping passes left and right. I don't know if it's maybe the left hand throwing spiral, the reverse spiral might be weird to them, but Drake London dropped passes he shouldn't have dropped. That Kyle Pitts pass that hit him right in his hands and he bobbled it that led to an interception. That could have been a touchdown. He threw a fade to Drake London that he should have caught, could have been a touchdown. So this is what I want to see, and it kind of exceeded my expectations because again, the first play of the game was a play action pass. Haven't seen that at all from the Falcons from Kirk Cousins. Play action passes across the middle of the field. While we might have ran them, they were not successful. And I saw plenty of things today, arm talent wise, that gives Falcons fans a lot of positive vibes moving into the future. And I joke with my homeboy, it's like, damn, imagine if he had like a legit number one wide receiver, because Darnell Mooney, great guy, great acquisition. He's not a true number one, and neither is Drake London, right? Drake London would be a great 1B to somebody else's 1A. But I'm like, damn, if he actually had real receivers, and maybe if Kyle Pitts wasn't fucking worthless and an afterthought in this offense, then that would be something. So I'm definitely excited. The Cowboys pulled off the upset and beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so the Falcons' playoff hopes are in their hands, which I'm sure they're going to disappoint us because again, regardless, and this is the Falcons' fault anyways, but I don't think we're going to have an answer for Jaden Daniels again. Threw 5 touchdown passes today, probably going to be the rookie of the year. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna have an answer for that, to be honest.
I don't know if anybody has answers for that guy.
Well, did you watch the end of that game, the Eagles game? So to be fair, they probably lose that game. They probably lose that game if Jalen Hurts doesn't get hurt. And then if fucking Devontae Smith,
he just straight up just
dropped a which could have been a game-winning touchdown. We need to check his emails and see if he has any FanDuel or BetMGM accounts because that was foul.
That's he was definitely selling on that one.
And yeah, he was definitely selling. You make that catch 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be. I think the Falcons have found their quarterback going forward, and I think it would be nice for them to get some help for him, but they're not going to have as much money as they would like to, once they have to, dump Kirk Cousins and eat some of that salary. So that's going to, take away from, building on the years that they have with Michael Penix on his rookie contract. But yeah, let's get
to that because there's been a lot of back and forth with this.
It's so bad. It's so bad. It was bad.
What I will say is, and you might have to eat some crow with a Mr. L Breezy, who was saying, I think, didn't y'all have like an argument on Twitter about him saying Penix is like the best quarterback or one of the best quarterbacks in this draft class? He might be on something because Caleb Williams don't look great. He don't look great, and he has a team around him that, I mean, I get they have a shitty coach, a shitty offensive coordinator, but his lows have looked very low, very low.
Yeah, his bad games will look bad, but I mean, if off the rip, I mean, he's probably you'd probably want him to be like a top 2 rookie quarterback, but he's probably like 4th at the very worst. But I'd put him at 3 behind like Jaden. Yeah. Maybe I'm not buying the Bo Nix thing. I think it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all screens and short passes like that.
He cooked us.
Yeah. How many times did he throw it 10 yards downfield?
I don't remember, but we'll see. We'll see. Michael Penix come out next week and look like dog shit, but the Commanders' defense is pretty bad too. So we'll see how he checks out. Hopefully, they can build upon this W. But yeah, the bail I'm going to shoot the Falcons is. I ran this theory by my homeboy. Was
that we're coming up with theories now?
No, because again, the Kirk Cousins thing was bad until it wasn't bad. If he didn't like dog shit for 4 straight games, nobody would care because we'd be in the driver's seat cruising into the playoffs for the first time since 2017. So when you're winning, nobody cares about the goofy decisions you make. Look at the San Francisco 49ers. When they were winning, nobody cares they mortgaged 3 first-round draft picks for the guy that is on the bench playing behind Cooper Rush. Like, nobody cares. And I'm still waiting for the mainstream media to bring up these 3 first-round draft picks and how that was probably one of the worst trades of all time. But
I do know that one of those picks turned into Micah Parsons. So I'm sure the 49ers would love Nick Bosa and Micah Parsons on the same defense.
Yeah, so again, it's the same thing. So cool. It is what it is.
It's starting
the
to
cost.
I'll
the cost of doing business with a quarterback is what it is. You have to pay like a starting quarterback. That's what you're going to pay them. Now, it again, that seems like a Arthur Blank type decision, but that's the going rate. You pay starting quarterbacks big Cousins.
I don't know about that one. I don't know about that. Paying him that much at that age, and then I guess when you consider, I just feel like we just don't have enough information out there. I guess like I get it. Like I can understand if the Falcons front office was like, just super scared because, last year the Falcons had arguably the worst quarterback room in the entire league with Ridder and Heineke. Like, it doesn't get much worse than that. And for them to just be like, all right, well, we're just going to double dip. We'll never be that bad again. And it's just like, okay, well, you didn't have to. I can understand double dipping, but double dipping to that extent is a poor resource allocation. So if you want to double dip and you say, okay, we're going to get Kirk Cousins, we're going to spend max money on Kirk Cousins, guaranteed $90 million, whatever, and then we're going to draft, just throwing a name out there, Spencer Rattler in the 4th round. That's a double dip where you can be like, all right, well, we got our vet guy and we have a rookie guy that maybe could turn into something. Or you can say, okay, we're going to sign Gardner Minshew, Sam Darnold, who else got like a 1-year deal out there? I don't know. Some other quarterback that got signed for 1 year, Tyrod Taylor. You give him a 1-year deal for $10 million or a vet guy, and then we can draft a quarterback in the top 10 like a Michael Penix or Bo Nix and go about it that way. Either one of those 2 options are fine. But to go so far in where you're like, you paid the highest, you got the highest valued quarterback free agent and spent a top 10 pick on a quarterback. Like I get being scared, but that's like terrified to the point where you're now making mistakes.
So I got the top 10 salaries for starting quarterbacks. Average annual salary. Joe Burrow, $55 million. Jordan Love, $55 million. Tua, $53 million. Jared Goff, $53 million. Justin Herbert, who's done nothing, $52 million. Lamar Jackson, $52 million. Jalen Hurts, $51 million. Kyler Murray coming off a torn ACL, $46 million. And then Kirk Cousins, $45 million.
Out of all of those that you named, how many of them are over 30?
None of them.
I mean, like
Matthew Stafford, 36, $40 million. Aaron Rodgers, 40, $37 million.
But we're talking about other guys. We're talking about guys that have produced though, like at MVP levels.
Kirk Cousins was arguably at MVP levels before he got hurt last year. They had one of the best offenses. They had one of the best offenses in the NFL with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. They were cooking.
They weren't talking about no Kirk Cousins as an MVP though. Like they might have been like Justin Jefferson's really good. And then you can kind of see it how Yeah, but I mean, like I said,
But the
it's
idea
one.
is, did you import him here? You got Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. I was like, all right, he has weapons. We should be able to kind of copy paste. It just didn't work. It worked for a couple of games, but just for whatever reason, it didn't
Do you
stick.
think he had more
But
good games or bad games this year? I didn't watch all of his games, but if you do you think he had more good games or more bad games?
I'm gonna tell you right now. Hold on, let's see.
Because I feel like his
Because it,
good games came in like a spurt. It was like two good games back to back, and then it just kind of fell off a cliff.
well, that's, I mean, that type of performance got Kyle Pitts the narrative of being a unicorn. So I mean, that's how that goes. All right, Steelers. First game, I'm gonna shoot up some bail because it was a horrible game plan. That was a whole controversial pistol game.
That was
The
bad.
Eagles. I'm not gonna lie, the Eagles should have won that game, but Saquon Barkley drops a routine pass that would have been a walk-in touchdown or at least a first down to ice the game. Chiefs, the refs cheated, so it is what it is. No, the Chiefs are the worst.
Okay, but did he play well though, or did he play
I don't
good?
remember.
Like win or loss? Did he
I don't
play
remember
well?
him. I don't remember him playing bad. But there. Let's see. The Seahawks game, he played bad. The Buccaneers overtime 500-yard game was, I feel like, just very lucky because we never saw that again.
Well, he only
Um,
played good against the Buccaneers. I know that. I know the Buccaneers games were his best games.
yeah, well, coming out of a bye, losing to the Saints played bad, losing to the Broncos played bad, the Chargers horrible, the Vikings he played good but not good enough, and then in a win against the Raiders he looked like absolute dog shit. So
It's probably
yeah, I
even.
mean, so I guess back to my theory that I didn't flesh out was that this was the most expensive smokescreen in NFL history, right? Because you're saying that, hey, they could have did X, Y, and Z and drafted Penix, but there were other teams that wanted to come up and get Penix, right? So if you're the Falcons, if you're looking at the Falcons from a draft standpoint, you're like, hey, they signed Kirk Cousins. There's no way they're going to draft a quarterback, so we're going to go get our guy Penix, who we have evaluated is 1A, 1B, whatever quarterbacks in this draft. We're looking at future quarterback classes. Like, hey, we're not sold on Shador Sanders or whoever else coming out next year. I think this guy has traits. He's mature, yada yada. I think he's ready to be a franchise guy. But because the Falcons did that, they could pull that off, right? So they got what should have been a bridge quarterback, which fell off a cliff. And today we win, and nobody cares. Like if Michael Penix leads us to the playoffs, none of this matters because nobody cares. Like
No,
you
it
win
does.
and you just keep moving. It doesn't.
It
It
does
doesn't matter.
matter. It does matter if when next year you're trying to bring in a free agent and they're like, well, we can't afford these guys. Why can't we afford them? Oh, that's right. We paid Kirk Cousins $90 million guaranteed last year. We can't get certain players that we might have been able to get. And the whole we signed
He'll be off the
Kirk
books in
Cousins.
2 years.
We signed Kirk Cousins to this massive deal with a no trade clause so we could do a smoke screen so no one else would draft Michael Penix is nasty. Like working backwards. Like to come up with that theory is insane. Like that's nasty hindsight. That's nasty hindsight.
I mean, if
Oh, they
everybody else
did
can do
it.
it,
They did a
everybody else
super
can do it.
they did a super dumb move, and we're gonna try to retroactively try to make it make sense. It didn't make sense. It was a bad move when it happened, and it's still a bad move, and it's gonna affect. Like I said, it 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 does. It looks worse. It will look worse. It looks worse for like in your example with the 49ers because now they're losing and they don't have as much depth or more replacement players as they could have had they kept those picks that they traded up for Trey Lance and just lucked into Brock Purdy and had all those first round picks. And if Penix turns out to be, what a lot of people think he can be, in a year or two, maybe even 3 years, they'll forget about the whole like I can't believe they did that whole Kirk Cousins thing, in the whole money situation. But I think for the next 2 years during free agency, it's going to be a thing where it's like, okay, we can't do everything that we want to do in free agency because of the Kirk Cousins deal. And now we have to rely on the same people that drafted Kyle Pitts number 4. Like the same people that drafted Kyle Pitts over Jamar Chase, we got to trust those people to hit in the draft because we can't really do too much in free agency.
I mean, that's what you pay those guys millions of dollars to do. Like we have, let's see, one, two. I think we have 4 draft picks next year. I anticipate, or I'm
4?
praying. Yeah, I'm praying. I'm praying that we can trade Kyle Pitts for at least a 3rd round pick.
I don't know, man. I know they try to put our name on that. I know they try to put our name on that. I don't think so, man. It's a no for me, dog. I don't want that dude. He's just not productive. He's not productive at all. I don't know what he's good at. He's not an every down tight end either.
Yeah, that shit pisses me off. I'm like, damn, number 8's not on the field again. That's crazy.
He's rarely on the field. And then when he's on the field, he's just making boneheaded mistakes and dropping passes. Not getting open, not making big plays. Like what does he do? What is his purpose out there?
He dominates the Falcons 3-on-3 basketball tournaments at 6'6". There's a monster out there at the fucking local Atlanta YMCA's. He's getting buckets, dominating these cats. But outside of that, like I really don't know what he's good at.
And I say all this as someone who drafted him as my number 1 tight end in fantasy. Like terrible. Just awful. Like unproductive, like just a non-factor. Like even in like blowouts where it's like, all right, the game's out of hand. We're just gonna try to get some garbage yards. Not even garbage yards. I can't get nothing from that guy. No kind of production.
Yeah, he's definitely booty butt cheeks. But yeah, playoff hopes are still alive. We got to go out there and try to beat, the Rookie of the Year on the road. And I don't know if you saw his post game. That dude is little, man. He looks like he looks like a really, like, they're like, oh, NFL players, they look small on TV. Nah, he looks small next to that woman that was that woman interviewing him. Like
he looks small in real life.
Yeah, bro needs some milk. Like he could probably move around like and draw no attention. Like, yeah, dog, I'm just a regular guy, dog. I'm just a chill. I'm just a chill guy.
I tell you who doesn't look small. Well, who doesn't look small? Kyler Murray doesn't look small. He's short, but he's not small. Russell Wilson, short, not small. Jaden Daniels, small. Like no shoulders, no definition, nothing.
6'4", 210. So he's very tall.
He is not no 6'4". He is not no 6'4", and he is not no 210. Maybe in pads. Get the fucking 210. Yeah, right. Right.
Let's see what Jaden Daniels calls.
210. You gotta be. You shitting me. That man couldn't dream of being no 210.
Nah, that's what they got him at the combine too. 6'4", 210.
Nah, okay. Well,
210 is not big at 6'4" though. Especially for like a professional athlete. He didn't run the 40 either. He be running his ass off.
I'm gonna say that's water weight.
Maybe he has a strong low torso.
Okay, hold on. You said he was 6'4", 210?
Yeah.
Jared Goff is 6'4", 217 listed. Come on. They don't look the same.
I mean,
Jared Goff looks big.
Maybe because he's lean. I don't know.
Somebody lying. It's either somebody lying or it's water weight.
You gotta do what you gotta do. So maybe we can knock him out the game or some shit like that. But, that's really the only hope I see for stopping that guy.
I think if Michael Penix continues to play the way that he's playing, I think there's just going to be people that are going to look back and just say, like, why did we do this? Why did this happen? Because based on how and this is projecting, because the story on Penix was like the dude has an arm, like he can sling it, he's accurate, he can throw the deep ball, all that good stuff, but he's a bit older. So it's kind of like it's the Bo Nix thing where he can kind of come in and be ready to just like hit the ground rolling where he doesn't need it. Like he's seen a lot. He played a lot in college, so he's seen a lot of different types of defenses and schemes. He's a little bit more mature, so he can get out there day one and hit the ground running. And it's like if you miss the playoffs by one game, but he plays well all season. From like even today, he played well in his first start,
Yeah,
and
that's where
why
that's
do
where my
we?
questions would be. So
It's like why go through all this? What was the like? What was the point?
maybe
Was it worth it? Because it's like you go through the whole dog and pony show with the Kirk Cousins thing just for him to be ass and then draft a quarterback in the top 10 who's like NFL like day like this isn't like Trey Lance came out of college with very limited playing experience and he was like 22 and he played like 4 games in college. He wasn't day one ready to go. Like Bo Nix, Michael Penix are like over 23, over like 40 starts. They're like, let's go. It's time to get this thing going. And it's like, why even do the Kirk? I really want to know whose idea was it to be like, right, we're gonna get Kirk Cousins. Was it the owner, the GM, or the coach? Whose idea was it to be like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna sign him, pay him. Who were they negotiating with? I don't even remember any other teams like vying, or because y'all are tampering, but I don't remember any other teams vying for his services. And then come draft night, it gets to pick number 7, and Michael Penix is still on the board. Who was the person that was like, we need to get that guy after what we just did? Like, there's no way that they're on the same page because those are two totally different timelines with those two
and
different
that's
situations.
like I said, that's something maybe we'll find out one day, maybe we'll never know. But maybe there was a situation where it's like, yo, this is our number one guy, and they happened to luck into being able to get him, and they're like, we can't pass on this guy, especially ends up being their guy. Like you can't. We had the worst quarterback room in the NFL. We had to get some stability because you look at the business side of it too, right? The Falcons just built a brand new $1 billion stadium. Do you know about the whole PSL thing?
Yes.
That was a big problem out there, and people are like, "Yo, dog, I don't want to come to these games. I'm regretting buying these PSLs. Sales are probably down, and people want stability. They want to know, like, hey, he's projected to be good. He's a veteran. We don't have to worry about learning curves." But then I guess it worked out where, hey, we can get the guy that we wanted, who we have rated first in the draft. You do it. And hopefully we have a quarterback for the next 15, 20 years. And nobody cares.
Like, I get that. But I just don't.
But I would say with the Raiders game, if he was this good, then you should have started him after the Vikings game. We wouldn't be in this situation.
Well, it's just like if you maybe I just don't know how like the NFL like front office meetings or whatever go, but like if you're looking at free agency and at your own roster and who you brought back, like if you pay all that money for a quarterback that you're like, all right, we have like a 3-year plan with this guy, and now it's time to get into more of the draft prep. I don't feel like your number one player, like the best player on the board, can be that same position. Like that doesn't make sense. That doesn't feel like good process either. Like once you got that quarterback, now your number one priority in the draft, even if it's your number one player, cannot be a quarterback. It has to be something to help elevate the quarterback you just paid $90 million to.
Again, we'll never know. But I mean, to be fair, Penix is 7 months older than Jayden Daniels, so like the whole age thing was always kind of weird to me.
He's older than CJ Stroud.
Okay, Jayden Daniels is too then.
Yeah, but Jayden Daniels started
in 2000.
Jayden Daniels started day one, and the Commanders didn't pay $90 million for another quarterback. They were able to draft Jayden Daniels, and they're going to be able to build. This is the Commanders, but going forward, I don't know what their cap looks like, but I do know that they don't have $90 million just sitting on the books that they can't spend like the Falcons do. And if Michael Penix continues to get better, and it's like, all right, this dude is better than what we thought he was going to be. It's time to like, let's go all in. Let's spend some money, get the fans excited. Unnamed free agent defensive players available. we can't afford him because he wants $10 million more than what the Bengals can offer him or some other team. Like
Well,
it's just little
I
moves, little
again,
minor moves
look at
out
the
there.
Saints. The salary cap is a lie. So
No,
the sky,
the Saints are finding out. The Saints are finding
hey
out
man,
that salary cap is true.
but they kicked that can way down the line. So and it worked out for
I'm
teams
gonna
like
send you.
the
I'm gonna send you the thread that I saw about the Saints salary cap and how bad it's about to get. Like it's about to get dark for Saints fan for like the next 4 years. It's gonna be really bad.
I mean, had they won a chip in that period, nobody
No,
cares. Kind of like with
they
the
didn't.
Rams. I know, but like it's a calculated risk. Same with the Rams. They went years without first round picks, but they still happened to get Kieran Williams, Puka Nacua. Like that, you can make it work. If there's a will, there's a way. You just have to have the right people in your organization to scout people, which we don't. But hopefully, we get some of those people because
I was about to say.
we're gonna need a lot of help. But I mean, also to be fair, it's coaching. You can coach the guys and evaluate the guys you have on the roster. Like up until the bye, we're still last in the league in sacks, but after the bye, we had 4 sacks every game until today. So the coaches figured out something, the players figured out something. So if you can coach your people up to be good, that's ideally what you want is the guys to actually draft to improve, make those guys improved and make your roster the best it can be, which a lot of people always want to look to the draft for the next shiny toy, but you got to be able to develop the players you have in house, which I think that we've cracked the code. And again, we have a first year offense coordinator and a first year defense coordinator, so they can only go up. So, but moving along. We did talk in pre-prep. I just want to mention the whole Joe Budden thing. So allegedly, Joe Budden says, well, he was out for like 2 or 3 episodes. No explanation. Then he shows up, but they're back at the old studio and not the new studio. So I'm curious what happened. Thoughts and prayers, but he alleges he sleptwalked somewhere he wasn't supposed to be. But maybe I don't know, maybe it's a house arrest now because both those studios are in New York. So actually, no, one is in Jersey because they're looking over the water. I don't know. I'm just curious what's going to happen. Hopefully, it doesn't mess up his business because he's been on a little bit of an ascension. So, thoughts and prayers. Shout out to Jersey.
I do like the old setup that they're at now. I just don't know if it works with as many mics as they have. Like they have way too many people to sit in that small of a space. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this. I guess if I was like if I watched the podcast on YouTube, I think it would be a little bit different because you can only see 3 people at a time, and you have to cut to 2 different people. They got like 7. There's too many mics on that podcast, if we're being honest.
I think it's a good thing. You get a lot of different perspectives. It makes the workload a little easier. But I'm sure at some point Flip is going to be gone. So if I had to guess, so which I didn't like him at first, but he's grown. But he's really stupid. He's incredibly stupid. I just be listening to him talk sometimes, like, bro, like, no disrespect, but
he could have said this one out.
Yeah, he's like a ball stopper. Like there'll be like kind of a good flow going or conversation that could happen. He'll be just ask like the most random question, like, bro, are you not paying attention? Like, shut the fuck up.
Like, what's the first down? I'm like, hey, bro, hey, man, you can stop.
Yeah, it he'll just go like so left with just random topics, but I mean, shout out to him. He brings what he brings, but he's like it's gonna sound bad, but he kind of reminds me of Trump a little bit.
Oh my god.
Just like, well, because he'd be like, like the migrants. He just be saying a lot of crazy stuff on the podcast, like super, like like super conservative values in a sense. Like he'd be bugged out. Like I don't know. It's weird. I'd have to point to specific examples where he just sounds really dumb, like very like.
He's very informed on a lot of things. It seems like.
Oh yeah. yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to them. But
And get money, dog.
yeah, they definitely have the business model locked down. Yeah, I don't think I want to dive into the. I'll briefly mention the Blue Sky topic because I don't feel like getting into it. But there's a controversy on Blue Sky, which if you're not on Blue Sky, jump on Blue Sky. You can follow me at Southbreeze 706 on Blue Sky. But there was like a little. I don't know if it made it across all the skyline, but the topic of disciplining your kids came up, and the end result was a block list made of. The title of this block list was "Pieces of Shit That Beat Their Kids," and like 7 people were on there. I was like, "Yo," and
I didn't see that part.
I'm gonna say 2 things, and then I'll let you speak.
I don't want to talk about it.
I'll say 3 things. I'll say 3 things. I'll say 4 things. Most of the people having this conversation are not professionals. That's the first thing. Actually, let me get some drafts. All right. I haven't seen a lot of professionals, like educated people, having this conversation. For one, 2, is a very nuanced conversation because there's a difference between beating and disciplining. 3, the one that I didn't want to say, but I think it is applicable. And I don't like to be this guy, but some people would say that if you don't have any kids, you can't really have this conversation. And I will wrap this up with, Michael Jackson got beat. So, do with that what you will. But that's where this is where having a Patreon would be great to, really get into it because it's just a hot button topic. Like a lot of people have different views on it. Just even in our group chat. Shout out to KJ, graduating college. I meant to shout him out the other podcast, but I completely fucking forgot. Congratulations. And in your heart and just not pay them. So fuck it. But yeah, it's there's a lot to it because it's like I guess what I should have said also is that America is built on violence too. So just like I feel like a lot of the people that say this would be the same people that will encourage their kids to fight in school. It's just like it's just a weird thought process. Like there's a very popular segment on Bomani Jones' podcast where he asks people to send him voicemail prompts for the times that they bucked up on their dad or whatever. And I'm like, guys, we're applauding this, and I'm sure y'all are applauding this. I'm sure y'all males are proud to tell the story where you ran up on your dad, but so at that point, is he not supposed to fight you? Or like, it's weird. Like, what if your son is disrespecting your wife, but your son's a 5-star recruit to like USC or something like that? At that point, it's self-defense. But the people on Blue Sky are like, there's no reason you should hit a child. So when do you stop being a child? That's kind of one of my questions, because where do we draw this thin line at? And then also, if that's your mindset that, hey, you should be able to talk through situations, keep that same energy when little Sarah gets a milk jug thrown at the back of her head or something like that, or where they're stealing her lunch money. Talk through it. Yeah, talk. We didn't beat you, so don't fight. See what I'm saying? Like, it's just a weird, like, you don't have to have conversations about anything. I think there's a lot of pandering, and I think a lot of people were going with the most popular thing, but it will require them to think and use nuance, which is something that we don't do on social media. So that's where I will curtail my thoughts before I get canceled.
Don't give it away for free.
Exactly. Subscribe to the Patreon that doesn't exist.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that's funny. Milk
very hot button issue, but yeah. Let's see. There was one I wanted to do, but I feel like that's an entire episode in itself. Did you have anything else you want to
I was trying to think of what.
Oh yeah, Merry Christmas. What time you hear this? It should be out before Christmas, but don't keep your fingers crossed.
Okay, I have to pull it up. But we were talking about. Well, we were talking about something in the group chat, and I allegedly said something that was off the wall or a little bit unhinged or whatever, and KJ said that I'm not allowed to go to Houston anymore. I have to check in. And Lowski was like, "Oh, that's normal for someone like you that hates on Paul Wall." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Someone that hates on? I don't hate on Paul Wall. Like, what are you talking about?" And then KJ proceeds to send me some of my old tweets on Paul Wall, and I can go ahead and pull those up and I can read them. And if they're like, I would like to know where the hate is at first off. So one tweet: "Y'all get annoyed with women rapping about their pussy, but Paul Wall hasn't written a verse without mentioning his car or jewelry in 20 years, but he y'all goat with them Sesame Street bars." I feel like that's all facts, but that's just me. Another tweet: "Y'all only like Paul Wall's music on Twitter." I feel like that's true because he dropped 3 albums in like 2023 and nobody listened to it but me. Yeah, exactly. 3 of them. That's not that. There's no context to that one. And there's a video of Eminem skin on Fortnite, and I asked, "Where's Paul Wall?" I don't feel like that's hate. I was asking a question. Why isn't Paul Wall on Fortnite if he's so popular? If he's if he's the best white rapper, him and Mac Miller are so great, but nobody listens to Paul Wall's music. They just like that one. They like Miller. Two. Yeah, R.I.P. to Mac Miller. But they lift up the 2 feature verses that Paul Wall has that they like, and that's all that they talk about. Nothing else. They don't talk about his solo albums. They don't talk about any of his other collaborations. They don't talk about the new shit he drops. Nothing. But he like I mentioned that, and all of a sudden I'm a hater. Like I don't get like when those albums came out in 2023, I listened to them. I saved a couple of songs on my playlist, and I just sat back and I waited. And I was like, I wonder if anybody's going to talk about these albums. I waited all weekend. Nobody did. Not a single person. And then he dropped another album like a month later, and the same thing happened. Nobody actually listens to Paul Wall. Not any of his new stuff. They like his old verse. They like, they're like his Drive Slow verse or his verse on Grills, Still Tipping. They like those songs, but ask them to name what's your favorite Paul Wall album. Nobody knows. Like nobody, like, come on, guys. Like I'm not a hater. Some people are just being exposed for what they really are, and that's just hypocrites. Like a lot of people dislike Eminem and they use Paul Wall. They prop up Paul Wall to try to tear down Eminem. And I think I posted I was listening to Chronic 2001, and I was talking about Eminem's verse on Forgot About Dre. Paul Wall doesn't have a single verse better than that verse. Not a single one in his entire discography. I dare anybody to find it because he ain't got it. It doesn't exist. So this idea, like, and I get Eminem right now, he does have this like a little bit of these, these cringeworthy bars and these like over rapidy rap and making certain words rhyme that shouldn't rhyme or whatever. But to disregard everything that he did before that and pretend like Paul Wall is somehow better than him, it's just silly and it's stupid. And I'm tired of it.
See, that's why Blue Sky needs bookmarks. That was definitely something I want to talk about, but I completely forgot. But it was a stupid conversation. Like the whole women only rap about this. Like, bro, come on, dog. Like,
and I don't care. Keep rapping about it. But like, if you're tired of women rapping about those same things, but you don't got nothing to say about Paul Wall, or you ain't got nothing to say about Pusha T, or you ain't got nothing to say about Rick Ross or anybody else.
Westside Gunn raps about one thing and one thing only: cocaine and wrestling. And if you like it, I love it. Like it is what it is. Like what you like. That's just 50 Cent doing the 50 Cent trolling marketing something, and people, it's low hanging fruit, and it's great social media fodder. But dog, I don't fucking care. Shut the fuck up. Like, respectfully, like, move around, go do something. Actually, real quick, I didn't realize that win put us. We are now back in the lead for the NFC South. Shout out to the fucking bum ass. Oh my god! Shout out to the bum ass Buccaneers for losing to a team that we beat easily.
Buccaneers are
Damn,
ass.
that's crazy. So yeah, all we need to do, like, so as long as we have a better record than the Buccaneers were in, but this is where it gets tricky. We play the Commanders, and then we play the Panthers, and again,
who did
the Panthers were the Bucks play the Saints and the Panthers.
Hey, you need Bryce Young to lock in. Tell Bryce Young to lock the fuck in. That's a playoff game for him. And they won today. They knocked the Cardinals out of the playoffs today.
Yes, so they might be trying to play spoiler, but that's the thing. They could be trying to play it for us too. So, I mean, if we both finish, 1-1, we have the tiebreaker because we beat them twice. So, I mean, I don't want to do that, right? I'd rather kind of have a cushion, but
just
I'm feeling a lot better than I did earlier. But we should have never been in this position. We should have been cruising into the playoffs. But if we win, we get in. We'll get clapped. But it is what it is. But it's I mean, shit. This is going to be our first this is going to be our first winning season since 2017. So that. Clap it up for the Falcons. I'll take it. These are things that'll keep fans in the seats. Like this, these are things that'll be like, hey, maybe I'll go out of my way to go to Mercedes-Benz Stadium because they have a product that I want to see. Hey, maybe I'll buy that Falcons mug because I'm not fucking embarrassed to represent my team in public. Like those things. That's what they're trying to do. I hate that football has to be a business like that, but it puts food on people's tables, and you got to do goofy ass shit to try to keep the lights on. But I know you mentioned the Chronic. That Missionary album by Snoop wasn't horrible. It was a lot better than I thought it would be. I had low expectations, but
I haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Now he does a little commercial stuff on there, but I get it. I mean, he's a host. He's a host on one of them weird shows, The Masked Singer or something like that. So I can see why some of them features made it on there.
When I heard it wasn't going to be, I thought it was going to be like a sequel to Doggy Style. So I thought it was going to be more in that vein, which is kind of crazy to think of that in 2024 at their ages. And then I saw the feature list, and I was like, I don't like any of these features. I don't think any of those features were. None of those features got me excited. I'd have to look at it again, but I was like,
well, I try to avoid the feature list, but I mean, I listened to a podcast and they were talking about it, but I ran it through. I was like, oh, they weren't bad. Like, it wasn't like usually a lot of those features be pure money grabs, but they weren't bad. It's not a bad album. Then Dr. Dre production is flawless. It's a good listen. I'll never listen to it again, but it's. I mean, that has nothing to do with the album. It's just me. It's just I've been on this. Who I've been listening to? I've been listening a little bit GNX. I've been trying to run through.
I have to take a break from that.
No, I've been running through Steely Dan and the Doobie Brothers Discogs.
All right.
There's a no. So there's this documentary I've watched. You should tap in. It's really good. It's called Yacht Rock on HBO Max, and it just pretty much talks. So the term yacht rock is very derogatory, is disrespectful, but that's just like white people branded this music is. It's more like soft rock, elevator music, dentist table or dentist office music, but there's some heat, right? And I say it's derogatory because they tried to get a phone interview with one of the guys who was a part of, I think, Steely Dan, which I feel like is more pure rock. That shit is fire. And he pretty much told them to go fuck themselves when they said it was yacht rock. So he feels it's very disrespectful. But the cool part of it is that some of the people that lifted up that little wave around like 1976. There's a group called Toto that I didn't really know about. You would know their songs if you heard them, but what I didn't know is that they worked with. I think there's a lot in there, so it kind of talks about like how like session musicians used to be a thing where that doesn't really exist anymore, like bands. Like we talk about that, me and one of the homies at work talk about it, like how you have the free nationals now. Like back in the days, you'd have like 10 of those. And nowadays, it's like what are all like just the good bands, or like how you have Thundercat, who's in the documentary. He's part of it. Like you have a Thundercat, which back in the days you'd have mad bass players, mad guitar players, mad, you know what I'm saying, mad people that could play instruments. Now that's just not a thing. But this one group, Toto, they played on like over 2,000 songs. Quincy Jones brought them in on Thriller. They wrote and produced Human Nature. Like it's the Matrix. The Matrix is deep, and like Thundercat's like, yeah, like he's like, if I could write with any two artists, it would be Kenny Loggins and Michael McDonald, who he has on one of his albums featured or whatever. So it's really cool. Like these cats are like legit musicians, and we just don't have that no more. Like it's crazy. But yeah, their influence, how they talk about the influence in hip hop, how like, you know, Regulators is a sample from the Doobie Brothers, very popular. Michael McDonald joined the Doobie Brothers, I think in like 1974. He just randomly, they're like, oh yeah, we need our pianist or somebody's out. So, oh yeah, I recommend this dude came in. He's like, yeah, they didn't keep me because I was a good piano player. It's just because I can sing very high. And then you can tell when he comes on the songs are banging, better vibes. It's cool. It's a cool watch. It was better than I thought it would be. But yeah,
McDonald be singing his ass off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, and then like he collaborated with Kenny Loggins, and it's a lot. It's a good doc. A lot of good music. A lot of good music out there. So that's what I've been doing. I got the Steely Dan is up. Doobie Brothers, they're cool, but Michael McDonald Doobie Brothers don't have as many bankers as Steely Dan. Steely Dan be going crazy. But it's a cool doc. Cool doc. But outside of that, I ain't really been on no new music outside of that and Kendrick and Leon Thomas. So it's been kind of slow. I probably should go back and listen to some other shit. Like I still didn't check out that Uzi Vert, Beyonce.
You should listen to that. That's you should listen to that. It's been enough time. It's almost the end of the year.
I'm not in general. I'm not like a big Beyonce fan, so it's not something I would run to. I know SZA dropped a new track. No, I ain't listening to the album.
What?
No, I'm good. I told you my top artist was Future. That's the type of time I'm on.
You gotta get that Chromacopia. You gotta get that a spin. You gotta get that.
I thought you said Tyler. I did listen.
Oh no, I said Tyler. Yeah,
I'm never listening to Tyler. I'm never listening to Tyler. I'm good.
Tyler, I need to check Tyler's out. A nice, just when you're outside on a nice day, listen to that.
Listen to Steely Dan and get vibes. I need to check out this Big X The Plug. I heard it was good. I need to check out Glorilla. I heard that was a good album.
What?
I'm just looking at albums that came out. The best hip hop albums according to Spotify, which is
I'm surprised you haven't listened to Glorilla, honestly.
I'm gonna check out these best albums. Big X The Plug, I heard it's good. I ran back Doechii the other day.
That shit is crazy. Yeah, I'm debating on if I want to listen to this fucking 10-year anniversary of 2014 Forest Hills Drive, but I just don't think that album was good enough to require 8 more songs. Like, what are we doing?
I mean, they said the live concert was cool.
I'm sure it was. I'm just talking about the album itself. Like, that album was kind of boring, and it's like, oh, just you wait. I got 8 more songs for you. Like, I don't know. Thank you.
Well, but the people that are like J. Cole stans, they're really about that J. Cole life, which I am not. So
I used to be. I was that person.
I'm in and out. Like my tweet now later was just cool, but it's nothing I ran back to after he took off the diss track. So
I went back and re-listened to that. It just sounds a little bit more cringy now, listening back to it, where it's just like, dog, you don't believe any of this stuff that you're saying. Like, what did I say? He's like, he's got all the talent and skill in the world to be the best rapper out there. He just don't have the heart to do it. Like, he just doesn't.
no.
You just don't believe. He doesn't have that instinct in him to be like, all right, I want to. And it's like you talk about wanting to be the best. You talk about like no one can try me, no one can do this like me. And it's like, all right, well, what happens when someone challenges that? Nah, I was just kidding, big dog. That's my fault.
Never mind. They said this whole thing was a rollout. He didn't want to mess up with getting in the mud. If you want to say cringeworthy bars, I just went through. Something triggered me to listen to some Drake. I don't know if it's a podcast I was listening to, but what's good, Shogun? Subscribe if you haven't, because we're poor and we need subs. What's really cringeworthy were all the extra songs on For All the Dog Scary Hours. Like, all of them bars aged terribly. Drake was trying to talk some Cash Money shit on that, which I like, which I said before. I like the trapper, gangster mob boss Drake. I just don't believe any of it because it's not to be believed. His actions show every single day that he's not that guy. It sounds good, but
not even close.
I wouldn't bet a nickel on anything that he's saying to be accurate. But yeah, I was like, let me run through these. Let me see if I was just hating. But yeah, nah, a lot of this not for me. A lot of this just not for me. But God bless. Be safe.
Yeah, it can get pretty ugly right there if you go back and re-listen to a lot of when he was talking a lot of shit back in the day, and it's like, might have the tables have turned. Do you listen to Cash Doll at all?
I have. I just haven't. I haven't listened to her new stuff. Like I said, I've just been trying to run through these discographies. Do better. Make some better playlist. Like I said, I don't really like Spotify. It's playlist, but I'm back on Tidal because I fixed that shit in my car. But yeah, just gotta work the playlist. There's again so much music out there. It's almost overwhelming. The fuck is going on with SZA's album cover? She looks fucking insane.
That's SZA for you. That's how she looked on her Hot Ones episode, though. So it's not super out of pocket for her.
All right. Well, I might check this out.
At least listen to the 30 for 30 song on there, which I don't think that title was on accident.
See all SZA events. Oh, of course, for the Kendrick tour. Duh. All right. I think we've milked the cow. I don't think there's any relevant Christmas stuff. Maybe I'll listen to Christmas music. I ain't listening to no Christmas music. I ain't wrap no gifts. I ain't bought people gifts. I'm just out here floating.
I don't listen to Christmas music until Christmas Day.
Oh shit. Well, I'm not out the loop. Damn. There was a guy, there's a couple people on Blue Sky hit up to try to come on the podcast so I can get this anime shit off, but shout out to Afro Cyborg Craves Pizza, Joe Wilson. I'm gonna get him on the podcast one day. Fuck.
Talk about Naruto and One Piece.
No, One Piece is great. One Piece is
all right. We don't have to do this.
I'm on episode like 546 or something like that.
Jesus Christ.
Which I'm very upset because Netflix only has up to episode like 580, and I have to go to bum ass Crunchyroll, and I don't want to do that. So that doesn't please me. So
you're only a quarter of the way through.
No, I'm halfway. I think they're only at like.
There's only 1,000 episodes of this show.
There's 1,000. Okay, so this is what people piss me off. There's 1,000 episodes, but if you read it, I'm on chapter 664. So the chapters are pretty short. Like you could read through. I could read through this probably. I definitely could read through this way quicker than I can watch it. And that's what I do. If there's like parts of the story that are getting kind of like, I'm like, all right, y'all are kind of milking this. I just read that shit, and then wherever I get to, I'll just cut it on and go from there. But it's definitely peak. I do want to have a conversation at some point about the content creation narrative that is on social media, which is weird because literally posting, you're creating content whether you know it or not. So I don't get the negative connotation. I think it's more or less, and you know what? That's a long conversation because they're like, oh, take away these podcast mics from men and defund podcasting, but you're on Blue Sky talking about I'm wholesome every other day and post a picture with something green. Like y'all do the same fucking shit every single day too. So just like cut the fucking shit. Cut it out.
Yeah,
Cut the malarkey.
I do go back and forth on the whole like what is actually content creating, like where is the line? Because like you said, it's like there's some people that are doing skits or singing songs or writing stuff and like whatever, and then there's some people that are just like on there talking, and it's like well, we can talk about it later, but it is a deeper discussion because I kind of go back and forth. I'm like, is this actually content creation or am I just doing what I normally do on a regular basis?
Well, I think I think some of the and the crazy thing is the bad podcasts is like people still entertain them. And it's like you're kind of working at your best interest. Like you're saying this is bad, but you're reposting it, you're clipping it up, you're reposting it. So it's like, just stop engaging with poor content.
I don't understand how they want attention. I don't know how people still they're still falling for it though, and it's one thing for it to just be like you see a random person on your timeline like being an asshole and you're like, man, fuck this dude, like you're trash. But it's another thing for someone with a bigger platform, like the fresh and fit guys or Andrew Schultz, and like everybody just goes crazy about him. Everybody makes a video about it. Everybody gets on their podcast and talks about it. Everybody does, and I'm guilty of the same thing because I'm doing it right now. But I'm doing it way later. But everybody does this whole thing where they like make that person the topic of discussion to where they're trending for like 3 or 4 days. And then they're going to turn around and monetize that. They're going to monetize Black people's rage. They're going to go to whatever company and be like, hey, look at all my views. Look at I was trending for 3 days. I'm viral right now. Let me get a extra 10 million on my comedy special. And it's just like, how many times are we going to fall for this? Like enough. Like, because in 2025, some non-Black person is going to say something crazy and Black people are going to go crazy about it. And that person is going to go viral and be trending, and then they're gonna get a fucking
YouTube meme coin
podcast, something like that. And you know what? The annoying part about that is we do that with like these non-Black creators or whatever. They'll be trash and terrible, and we will hate them all the way up until their own like #1 podcast or a YouTube deal. But then, have you heard of Cooking with Kaya before? Do you know who that is?
Yes, me and the homie talk about Cooking with Kaya, ruining families every single video.
So I'd never heard of Cooking with Kaya until everybody started to hate her for some reason. I was like, okay, everybody hates this girl for whatever reason. I went to her page. I'm like, all right, the food looks okay. Like she looks okay. Like I don't understand what the big deal is. And it was just nothing but negativity all over the place. And I'm kind of just sitting back like, dog, when is she gonna get her podcast deal? Who's gonna give her? When's she gonna get a YouTube channel? Who's going to be because she was all over TikTok, you know what I'm saying? And we actually have proof that she can cook. Unlike the Hot Tour girl, I ain't seen her suck nan dick yet. I ain't seen no one come out and publicly say, yeah, she's good at that. Like we have no proof with her, but she got a $1 million deal to do a terrible podcast. Cooking with Kaya knows how to promote herself. She has her own little theme song. She's charismatic. Get her on Rachel Ray or something. Like, can we do that for her?
She's black.
Oh God.
The end. The end. As we wrap, I saw a crazy title to a post on Blue Sky. It says, Congress has become a waiting room for heaven. It's got a picture of Mitch McConnell and a bunch of other super old people. These people look crazy. They look like cyborgs or so.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
Christ, man.
Yeah, Mitch McConnell, he need to sit elsewhere.
That nigga fell and broke his hip, and everybody was like, how is this nigga still alive, man? Like anybody else's grandma would have died that day, but he's still he thrives off of hate. Hate just keeps his ass alive. It's ridiculous.
Oh my God.
He's trying to stay alive long enough to see Elon Musk be president or dictator, whichever one comes first. I hate America. God damn it.
And with that, I think we will wrap. We will wrap. Appreciate supporting. Tap in. Subscribe on YouTube. Should be back next week. We out. Go Falcons.